welcome to the program Salone Star Parade, right on the station SLBC, but I'm right here in Washington, D.C., inside the studio of Voice of America. And of course, I'm here with the great star. Right behind me, you can see the Music Time in Africa. And of course, I'm using the studio of the great presenter of that program, Heather Maxwell. She's the star for this week on Salone Star Parade.
It's Music Time in Africa. Hello, welcome to Music Time in Africa. I'm Heather Maxwell. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Music Time in Africa. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Music Time in Africa. Friends, feeling sad on point to duty. They keep trying to tell me. So happy, even though they might be hungry tomorrow. That don't get them to down. All of me. Take all of me. Can't you see I'm no good without you? Take my lips, I want to lose them. Take my arms, I'll never use. Okay, listen, Malado, the man I want lives right next door. For you I paid a high price, so you better work nice and quickly, discreetly for me. You in my pocket we go, tonight I can't wait no more.
Heather Maxwell. She's the star for this week on Salone Star Parade. And to me, first of all, I want to say welcome to the show.
Thank
Heather.
you.
And it's a pleasure allowing me to use your studio to do this interview.
My pleasure.
In other words, it's like using your parlor to talk to you.
I know.
Are you comfortable?
Yeah, actually, I like this seat. This is easy. You're in the hot seat now.
I'm in the hot seat. So we're going to do something right now. Because you've done a lot in terms of promoting African music. Way back in Africa, people listen to you and people love your program as well. And now as an American, in America here you have what you see, the blacks, you call them the African Americans.
Yes.
I'll call it the American African. How do you see that?
I think that sounds good too.
First of all, Heather Maxwell. Who is Heather Maxwell?
Heather Maxwell is a girl who was born and raised in Michigan on a farm.
Okay.
And has been always somebody connected to music. In the beginning with a family gospel band, and then a rock and roll band with her brothers, and then a classical singer and jazz singer, and over the years also African-inspired singer.
Okay, what gave you the passion to come into music?
I was born into it. My family. My mother played piano. I mean, she always used to play piano, and she taught piano lessons, and she would gather us together for church.
Okay.
And really, I learned to sing Baptist hymns in church. And then we started to form our own group, and we had a family band called the Maxwell Family Band.
Okay.
And we performed in churches all the time. And we did talent shows back before they were televised like they are today. We did real, well, they're real now, but back then you actually went to a place and you auditioned, and there was an audience. There was nothing else. There were no cameras. And you went like from county to city to state. And so we did a lot of that kind of competitive performing as a family band.
Yeah, you started singing at the age of 7. Is that right?
Yeah.
About
Yeah.
age of 7. Yeah, and how was it like as a young kid moving around with a band across United States of America?
It was fun. It seemed natural to me. I never understood why people thought it was anything unusual because, you know, whatever you do in your family seems to be the natural way of things in general. So for me, it was just fun. It was part of life.
Did you have the chance for you to be able to compose a song at that age?
I probably had the chance. I don't think I did.
Yeah, you
I
didn't.
don't think I did, no.
Okay. And also you enter certain competitions, and then you won a scholarship to do music.
Yeah.
How was it like?
That was great. Because one of the things that I wanted to do with my life, even at a young age, was see the world.
Wow.
We used to sit around at the table when I was a kid with my parents and my grandparents. We all lived together. It was like an African extended family in a way in the U.S. And my grandmother, who was the head of the household, she was the matriarch, she would always say, almost every night at the dinner table, she's from the South, so she talked like this. She'd say, Heather, what would you like to be when you grow up? And I'd say, I don't know. And she said, well, you could be the president of the United States if you want to.
Wow.
So we always had that discussion at the dinner table about what could you be, you know, and where would you want to live in the world. And so we were allowed to really dream and encouraged to dream. So I wanted to travel. And when I got the scholarship to study voice, it was exciting for that reason more than anything else, because I was going to be able to get out of Flint, Michigan and start seeing the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
How was it like studying voice? What the difficult part
I
of it?
loved studying voice.
What the difficult part of it?
The difficult part was learning songs that you might not feel comfortable singing.
Like?
And in different languages, like different arias. You know, I studied classical music, so
Okay.
certain songs in English or by a certain composer, I just didn't feel. You know, I just didn't like them, or I didn't feel them, but we still had to do them. Sometimes singing in foreign languages was challenging because you have to learn phonetics. Like I learned how to sing in German, Spanish, Italian, and French.
Wow.
But I can speak French, but I can't speak the other languages. But we
But you can
learned,
sing- you can sing the
yeah.
song.
And that actually helped me when I lived in Africa later on to be able to sing in other African languages as well. I used that same technique and applied it to African languages.
Let's talk about Africa a little bit. You went to Ghana.
Yeah.
Is that so?
Yeah.
And to study what?
I went to study music.
Music.
Yeah.
Music and dance.
Music and dance, because the University of Ghana has, I think, the oldest traditional music school. Traditional music.
Okay.
Kwame Nkrumah, you know, he really believed in the African arts.
Okay.
And so they had a school where you learned to sing and dance and play instruments, and it was all kind of one. I would learn how to play the xylophone.
Okay.
I would play it for a half an hour with a big group of students, and then we would shift, and I would go and learn the dance that went to that xylophone piece. And the person dancing would then come and sit and learn the balafon part. And then I'd shift and play the some sort of rhythm instrument. So that was great. I loved it. Absolutely loved that.
How difficult was it, you know, you as a white student, you know, mingle with the blacks as well? How was it?
Great. There was no difficulty at all.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is Ghana
Ghanaians
the first
were-
country that you...
Ghana was the first country. It was easy for me because at that point I didn't speak any other language except English.
Okay.
So that was easy for me. But Ghanaians were so warm and generous and loving, and, you know, I felt safer in Ghana than I had in many neighborhoods that I lived in the United States. And that was during the time when Jerry Rawlins there was a coup d'etat, and it was dangerous politically, but I never really felt any danger whatsoever in my day-to-day life.
Was it in Ghana that you got a degree?
No, I finished my degree back in Michigan,
Okay.
and I just went there for 6 months to study as part of my degree.
Okay. Now, let's see a little bit, because you play traditional music instruments as well.
Yeah.
Which one do you play?
Well, I play the kamelengoni, which is this instrument here.
Okay, let's just get off.
This guy.
Okay. A nice guy.
Nice guy. This was made for me a few years ago when I was in Mali.
Okay.
And I learned to play it, though, when I was living in a village as a Peace Corps volunteer in Mali many, many years ago. The great thing about music in African villages is that that's what people do at night. At least in Mali, that's what people did for fun. And actually, back then, when I was living in this village, it was called Ntosoni in Mali, there was no electricity. There was no faucets for water. You know, you had to get your water from the well. And so at night, pretty much everything shut down. And so people got creative. Okay. And I learned this instrument.
So how was it, before you play anything, just how was it like for the first time when this instrument was placed in your hand? How was it like, playing it?
It was fun. I felt a little awkward because I was one of the only women that play. Normally it's played by men. Okay, yeah. But that's one of the great things about being a foreigner, is that you get certain exemptions from cultural norms that an insider wouldn't be able to do. So normally women aren't, it's not looked well upon for a woman to play this instrument. There are a few pioneers, but when you're a foreigner, you can break rules, and it's okay. So that was good. And I had heard people playing this a lot, so I kind of knew what it was supposed to sound like, and I kind of knew how to hold it and stuff like that.
Okay, you're holding this right now. Do you have a song in mind that you think you're going to play for?
Yeah, I have a couple songs.
I just need one for now, like the blues song.
Okay.
I think you spoke about a song backstage. There was a song called Summertime.
Exactly.
What is that song?
Well, Summertime is an American classic. It's a very old American song that many, many, many blues and jazz singers sing when they first start out. So, excuse me. I wanted to be able to sing some American songs like that to this instrument. So that's what this is. Summertime is the American song, and then I put it on this old Malian traditional rhythm that I was taught in Mali.
And I want to get a feel of it right now.
Okay, the Malian rhythm goes like this. That's the rhythm, and it usually just stays that way. Okay. Well, I changed it a little bit so that I can accompany myself to the blues. Wow. So I added this note, and I go back down here. And then when I want to go to the 5 chord, because blues is 1, 4, 5, I go. Okay. That's the 5. And here's 1 again. So in other words, it's like a traveling from up and down again. So let's get a song now. Let's get a song, Summertime song. Okay. Summertime, and the living is easy. Fish are jumping, and the cotton is high. Oh, your daddy's rich, and your mama's good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you cry. Wow. Nice. Well, once again, the program is Salone Star Parade. And the star for this week on Salone Star Parade is no other person but Heather Maxwell, the host of the Music Time in Africa right here on VOA. Welcome to the program once again. Thank you. Summertime, nice song. Thank you. Who do you dedicate that song to? My mom. Your mom? She taught me that song. Wow. On piano, not on
I love that. Well, we spoke about Ghana. Yeah. Let's forget about Ghana now. You went also to Ivory Coast. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, you did. You did go there. You did a lot of research on me. I don't know. I'm just scared. You went to Ivory Coast. Yeah. What took you there? Well, truth be told, a man, but a musical man. Wow. So I met a wonderful Ivorian keyboard player, pianist in Paris, who is from Ivory Coast, and he was just getting ready to go back
to move back there and make a studio, and he had dreams of returning home. So I went with him.
Okay.
We were in love, but we also were in love with the music we were making.
Okay.
So we went back to Ivory Coast together and built a home studio in a neighborhood called Williamsville. And we did a lot of really, really fun stuff. We sang in some jazz clubs. We recorded one album called Woro, which means cola nut. And I also sang a lot of backup vocals for other Ivorian artists that were coming in to get their songs recorded in our studio. So that was fun. I met a lot of different Ivorian musicians and was able to sing in some Ivorian languages.
Well, that's nice. But I just want to get your experience. When you first entered the studio to record a song.
Yeah.
How was it like? The
In
first
Ivory
day.
Coast?
No, I'm talking about your first day. We're going back to Africa, but now your first time you entered in the studio to do a recording, to record a song, a piece of song that you composed.
I remember, no one's ever asked me that.
Well, I'm asking you now.
No, I like it. I'm just now trying to think. It was in Detroit.
Wow.
And in Detroit, my brothers, who are both older than me, they were rock musicians. And so they were the ones they were putting together their first album. And they wanted me to come in and sing backup for them. And I remember it just being so exciting, everything about it. I love the studio. Even today, I love the studio. That's part of the reason why I love working at VOA, because we're in the studio a lot. But it was really satisfying. The most exciting thing, I think, was singing and then hearing your voice on tape afterward.
Okay.
And it was like, I sing like that? I didn't really know I sang very well. But then when I heard it, I was like, hey, that's not bad.
Okay, you released your cassettes in Ivory Coast. I think on the Samasa
Yeah.
and EMI.
Yep. Pate Makoni EMI.
Okay.
Samasa was the first album I did, and that was in Mali before.
Okay.
When I was living as a Peace Corps volunteer, when I learned this instrument.
Okay.
I recorded a cassette back then by Samasa, produced by Samasa. And that one was with a singer named Jenaba Sek,
Okay.
who is still very active in Mali today. That was her first real cassette, and we did a project together.
How was the sales? How did people receive the album?
Oh, they loved it.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun because I was singing in Bambara, and, I'm white, and she and I sang together, and I studied it hard, just like I learned to do in school. I tried to sing perfect Bambara, and it was super fun. And Malians really loved that, and Burkina Faso also really loved it. We made one or two music videos.
Okay.
And they just appreciated mostly that me coming from America, which is a powerhouse country, as you know, would come and take the time to learn Bambara and to learn how to sing. And they were really happy about that, and they were proud about that.
So in other words, you're a superstar, or was a superstar. Do people still know you, by the way, out there?
I think
in
so,
Ivory
yeah.
Coast?
Even last year, I met a Burkina Faso younger man in New York.
Okay.
And he said, I know you from somewhere.
Wow.
I said, is it the song Domba Kononio? And he goes, yeah, that's it. So
how was it like for you to train the Bambara, to learn the Bambara language?
That was fun. I mean, it takes discipline to learn a foreign language. But again, because there was nothing else to do in this village for 2 years where I lived, except be creative. There, when you have no TV, radio on battery, but otherwise, you have to use your mind and your body, and you have to be active and do things. And so I just put myself to the task of learning Bambara.
Okay.
And so I would go in my little house. I had my own little home. I would study for like an hour or two with books. We had a few books.
Okay.
And then I would go out and I would try to apply it. And so I would speak to people. And, of course I would say stupid things and everybody would laugh. But in the end, I learned it.
You learn. Now, you're a singer, songwriter, and composer, and also instrumentalist.
Yeah.
Which one do you like best?
You know what? I like being an instrumentalist when I'm not the lead. Wow. I like playing accompaniment.
Okay.
Like with this instrument. I like playing it as a rhythm instrument because
Okay.
it's really rhythmic.
Okay.
When I'm in a band and I'm just doing my little thing and in back.
You're at the backstage.
Yeah, I like
And then
that.
playing for a lead vocalist.
Exactly.
So what the problem if you play the instrument at the same time, do a lead vocals?
No, I can do that too. If I'm just playing
Okay, you like
this
it.
thing, yeah,
Okay.
then I don't want to try to play it solo.
Okay.
But singing, I have to say, is my favorite thing because that's what I know the best. And singing, you have a story you can tell. When you have an instrument, you can't really tell a story. Or if you do, people have to imagine by what you're playing that you're feeling this way or that. But when you're a singer, you can actually sing a story.
Okay, I've done most of interviews with artists, and when you ask them about how do they compose songs, they have different stories.
Mm-hmm.
The way they get their songs, the way they get their story in composing songs. How do you get your story in composing songs?
I usually take from real life.
Wow.
And if it gets too personal and I feel like maybe I'm disrespecting someone in the true life story, I might adapt it and change it a little bit. And then I take a rhythm and I start with a rhythm. And so I take the story, I try to write it, and then I take a rhythm that I like, and then I try to fit the two together
Okay.
and make it work.
How long do you take to compose songs?
I take a long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like a week?
Oh, months, usually
Months,
months.
okay.
Yeah. I mean, but if I'm strapped, then I can come up with something really fast. And sometimes that works really good.
Okay, you just spoke about the language that you train in Mali, Bambara, is that also?
Yeah, Bambara.
You got a song in Bambara.
Yes.
Which title? Because I think I want you to do a live performance for me right now so that
Oh, sure.
the fans, people that love you so much will definitely hear you
Oh,
sing
whoa. Oh, whoa.
that wonderful language. What's the title of the song you want to perform?
I want to sing Kanakasi.
Kanakasi.
That means don't cry.
Wow. Who did you
It
dedicate
means
that
don't
to?
cry. It's a folk song.
Okay.
And actually, since we're in Voice of America, we broadcast in about 45 different languages here.
Okay.
And we have a Bambara service.
Wow.
And so I just ran into one of my friends, Mariam Traore, and I said, do you know the folk song, Kanakasi? And she's like, yeah, I know that. I said, well, would you mind coming up and singing that with me because I'm about to go up and do an interview. So she's here.
She agreed.
Yeah.
She's here. So we need to call her right now.
Yeah.
So let's call the wonderful lady. What's her
Mariam.
name? Mariam. And of course, we're going to take the song called
Kanakasi.
Don't Cry.
Don't cry.
Stay tuned. This is Salone Star Parade. And of course, the star for this week is Heather Maxwell, the host for Music Time in Africa.
Yes.
I don't want to cry. So let me
cry.
get a feel of it right now.
Okay, Mariam. On bena Kanakasi na.
Angate manai.
Aywa.
Yawa.
Kanakasi njarabi kasi tu mama se njarabi.
Kanakasi njarabi kasi tu mama se njarabi.
Kanakasi folo ni lagare kasi tu mama se lagare.
Kanakasi njarabi kasi tu mama se njarabi.
Kanakasi emano wolo basa yo mai.
Njarabi.
Kanakasi emano furuche sa yo mai.
Njarabi.
Kanakasi imano wolo desa yo mai.
Njarabi.
Kanakasi nkanunyo kasi tu mama se kanunyo.
Kanakasi njarabi kasi tu mama se njarabi.
Kanakasi folo ni lagare kasi tu mama se lagare.
Kanakasi njarabi kasi tu mama se njarabi.
Wow. Kanakasi.
It's a folk song.
folk song,
It's
okay.
a folk song, and it says, Kanakashi, baby, don't cry. Kanakashi njarabi, because it's not time to cry.
Not time to cry.
Not time to cry yet. And then the little bridge part is, Kanakashi maro furuche sayamai. Basically, don't cry now, because if you really want to cry, wait until your husband might die.
Wow.
That's something to cry about. Or, and then the list goes on, or your mom, or
It's
or
like
your child.
it's like a consoling song.
It is.
Consoling
is.
somebody from
It is.
being so sad. Eh?
Exactly. It's like, oh, baby, don't cry about that.
Wow.
It's not sad. You don't know sadness.
Did you record this one? In any of your albums?
I did in the one that we did in Abidjan, but we did it with like a jazz feel.
Okay.
Diddy-diddy-doo-doo, ba-da-dee-ba-ba. It was a different thing. Yeah.
And people love it.
Yeah, people liked it a lot.
Oh, okay, okay. Now let's come to something else. In 1990,
Yeah.
I think you did something. You came into America again.
Yeah.
With the Ivorian partner.
Yeah.
Is that so?
Yeah.
And of course, you formed a group.
Yeah.
Which was not successful. Why was it not?
Well, I don't know. I think, number one, we had a baby. And it's hard. In America, it's really hard to have a life as a musician and make a living. And then when you have children, a lot of times here, when you get married, you strike out on your own and you don't live with an extended family. You don't have brothers or sisters or cousins or aunties or grandparents who can just help you with the baby while you go off and continue your working life. Okay. You are responsible for it. So we were sort of in that situation where there was just the two of us and the baby, and we were also in a city. We moved to Denver, Colorado, which was not really a big music city. So with all of those struggles, we never really just got off. We just never got off our feet.
Wow.
We just never got off our feet. We weren't making enough money in music, and then one of us always had to watch the baby, and we didn't have family around. So
it was hard.
Yeah, it was hard.
And later you left performance and then went to teaching.
Yeah.
To the academy. How was it like? Why did you forget at that time performance and then go back to school, start teaching music?
I don't know. I just realized that as a mother now, that became number one role. That was my number one job.
Okay.
And I wasn't seeing a future as a good mother and a musician in the United States. If I was in Africa, and in fact we had discussed that, let's go back to Ivory Coast, and then your aunt and your cousins and your sisters can help with the baby, and we'll continue doing our music. But we were here, and so that just didn't seem viable. So I decided to go back to graduate school actually and teach, because teaching, you're not 9 to 5. You can stay home, you can do your lessons, and you can go off and teach for a few hours and come back.
Okay.
And it's not nighttime work. So it just seemed to be a better career choice at that time.
Okay. And later you formed a group called African Soul.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about African Soul.
Well, that was many years later when I was teaching at the University of Virginia. Okay. My daughter was already in high school, so when your kids are in high school, they don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. And you don't need to be around them. In fact, they don't want you around them. So I had more free time. And I started this group with a lot of my students. And I was teaching them a couple different African music classes. Okay. And some of them who were musically gifted said, oh yeah, we want to join. And so I took some of these traditional folk songs and some of my own and recorded a new album.
Wow. And how was it like?
It was great. We went on tour. We went back to Mali and performed at the Festival sur le Niger, which is one of the biggest music festivals. It used to be. A few years back, it took a big hit when Mali had the coup and the problems in the north.
Okay.
And that was just terrific.
You were also in a group.
Yeah. Robert Jaspe. And Inner Rhythm.
And you did 2 albums where you did a lead.
Yeah, well,
is it Rhythm Now and
exactly. That was an EP and Heartbeat. And
tell me a little bit.
Well, that's more pure jazz.
Okay.
And so I started singing jazz mostly with this band. I play a xylophone too, and so that was really fun to add to the group. So we did that for a few years. It was really, really, really fun.
Really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Big time, huh?
Yeah.
But you left the group.